welcome. You're watching The Sword and the Story, and I am your host Sharik Mahmood Khan. This is the place where we narrate the stories of great warriors, kings, and leaders in history. Stories that represent not just battles, but wisdom, justice, and greatness. Today, we will talk about a Muslim general, the very name of whom sent chills down the spines of Crusader armies. The man who defeated his enemies not only with the sword but also with morality and character. Let's travel back to the year 1137, where this story begins. Part 1, The Dreaming Kurdish Boy, 1137 to 1154 AD. In 1137 AD, a boy was born in the small town of Takrit on the banks of the Tigris River, Yusuf ibn Ayub. This boy would grow up to be known to the world as Salah Uddin Ayubi. His father, Najm ad-Din Ayub, and his uncle, Shirkuh, were high-ranking generals in the army of the famous Muslim commander Zengi. However, fate soon forced them to leave their positions, and the entire family moved to Mosul. Salahuddin's childhood was not like that of other boys. While other children were engrossed in sword fighting and military games, he immersed himself in studying the Quran, Hadith, and Islamic jurisprudence. He did enjoy horseback riding and archery, but his heart shone with a passion for knowledge, justice, and integrity. From a young age, Salah Uddin learned military discipline in the company of his father and uncle. Their gatherings were treasures of Islamic wisdom, history, and military strategies. It was here that the dream of becoming a ruler who was not only powerful but also just and compassionate was born within him. At the age of 17, Salahuddin's family moved to Damascus. The city's scenery, gardens, and gatherings of scholars deeply inspired him. During this time, his uncle Shirkuh, a brave and fearless general, set out on an expedition to Egypt. Salah ad-Din, though reluctant, joined the campaign. Little did he know that this first step into battle would not only make him a soldier but also a hero of the Islamic world. If you want Salahuddin's story of bravery, character, and wisdom to reach every heart, hit like and stay tuned for the next part on YBR The Sword and the Story. Salahuddin's emergence as a leader. When Shirkuh set out for Egypt, a young Salahuddin accompanied him. He was a man of learning and nobility, still unaware of the bloody scenes of the battlefield. However, circumstances forced him to take up the sword and carve his own destiny. At that time, Egypt was politically weak, plagued by internal conspiracies. The Fatimid Caliphate was in its final days, and the ministers were busy undermining each other. Salahuddin was astonished by what he saw. He realized that defeating an enemy's army was not enough. The real battle was to win the hearts. A dangerous turn came when Shirkuh won a major battle and was appointed as the minister of Egypt. Soon after, he passed away, creating a power vacuum at the Fatimid court. Sultan Nur ad-Din ordered that Salahuddin be appointed minister, though he wasn't ready for such a responsibility. At just 31 years old, a young man in search of knowledge and justice became the head of a kingdom in turmoil. Surrounded by enemies, he decided to stick to his principles. He implemented administrative reforms, treated the people with kindness, and adopted justice even with his adversaries. His reputation spread across Egypt. An upright young minister, a symbol of wisdom, character, and bravery. But the real test was yet to come. Salahuddin knew that to unite the Muslims, he had to bring Damascus and Cairo under one hand. The biggest obstacle in this dream was the Crusader powers. This was when a true Muslim general began to emerge, a protector of not just his people, but of humanity itself. If you think that honesty, justice, and mercy are still needed in today's world, leave your thoughts in the comments. Can a leader like Salahuddin emerge today? We look forward to hearing from you. The next part is coming soon. Stay tuned to YBR The Sword and the Story. After taking control of Egypt, Salahuddin enthusiastically began his reforms. He organized the administration, allocated wealth for the welfare of the people, and revitalized the army. But his dream woke up every day. He wanted to unite the entire Muslim world. Cities like Damascus, Aleppo, and Mosul were under different Muslim rulers. Salahuddin knew that as long as the Muslims remained divided, the Crusader powers would continue to dominate. The first step he took was to march toward Damascus. The path was not easy. Many of the local rulers considered him just a minister, while others were envious of his growing influence. However, Salahuddin began winning hearts not with force, but with wisdom, patience, and justice. By 1174 AD, the gates of Damascus opened for him, not with bloodshed, but with a victory of character, compassion, and fairness. Now, both Egypt and Syria were under one hand. For the first time, Muslims had a ruler who was not only brave but also just, compassionate, and pure-hearted. But the enemies were not idle. The Crusaders knew that Salahuddin was now more than just a king. He was a threat to their empire based on oppression, looting, and deceit. From this moment on, Salahuddin decided that the war would no longer be about land, but about the liberation of Jerusalem. If you want the world to know what true heroes of Islamic history stood for, share this video now. Spread the light to your friends, family, and the new generation. The next part is coming soon. Stay tuned to YBR, the Sword and the Story. After capturing Damascus without a battle, Salahuddin continued his mission to unite the Muslim world. He eliminated smaller state conflicts and built an army that was not only powerful but also loyal, disciplined, and filled with spirit. Meanwhile, the Crusaders occupying Jerusalem were oppressing the Muslims. Jerusalem, once a center of peace for Muslims, was now under enemy flags. Salah ad-Din's heart burned with a desire to free it. In 1187 AD, the day of the Battle of Hattin arrived. This was the moment when history saw a decisive turn. The Crusaders, in their arrogance, decided to meet the Muslims in battle, and aware that they were facing not just a general but a champion of justice and faith. Salahuddin strategically positioned his army and inspired each soldier with love for Jerusalem. Exhausted by the heat, thirst, and fatigue, the Crusader army was quickly defeated. King Guy and the famous Crusader commander Reynald were captured. Salahuddin treated King Guy with kindness, but Reynald, who had committed atrocities against Muslims, was executed. After this victory, Salahuddin marched toward Jerusalem. And then, in October 1187, without much bloodshed, Jerusalem was freed. No looting, no revenge, no massacres. Salahuddin set an example of moral victory, a standard of ethics still recognized in the world today. If you want stories filled with character, wisdom, and honor to continue reaching you, subscribe to YBR, the Sword and the Story now. The final part, Salahuddin's legacy and end, is coming soon. Stay ready. Legendary leader, the conquest of Jerusalem made Salah Uddin Ayubi a hero to Muslims across the world. Yet, after this victory, he remained humble. He lived like an ordinary man, never building palaces for himself or hoarding treasures. Instead, he spent his wealth on orphans, widows, and the poor. After the conquest of Jerusalem, the Crusaders launched a new front, the Third Crusade. Richard the Lionheart of England arrived, and Salahuddin faced him on several fronts. Despite being enemies, both held great respect for one another, setting an example of chivalry and ethics rarely seen in history. When Richard fell ill, Salahuddin personally sent him medicine and medical assistance. In 1192 AD, a treaty was signed, allowing Christians to visit Jerusalem, but it remained under Muslim control. This was a victory of peace, not through the sword, but through wisdom and understanding. In 1193 AD, at the age of 55, Salah Uddin Ayubi passed away in Damascus. When his belongings were gathered, they didn't even amount to enough to cover his funeral expenses. A king who ruled empire, yet his heart was full of fear of God and love for the people. Today, whenever a leader speaks of justice, mercy, and character, the world remembers Salah ad-Din, the general who won battles with his ethics. If you want to continue hearing such historical and character-building stories daily, except Sundays, do these 5 things. Like so we know you enjoyed the story. Comment and tell us which aspect of Salah ad-Din's character impacted you the most. Share so this light reaches your friends and family. Subscribe to YBR, the Sword and the Story, so you never miss a story. Finally, click the bell icon to get instant notifications of new videos. See you in the next story, only on YBR, the Sword and the Story.